Hi, this is Christoph, and I'm together with Justine here on the podcast. What's our topic for today, Justine?
I thought today we would talk about our senses. Our senses being how we process information, not just in everyday life, but actually how we process information in meditation and hypnosis and altered states. And what does it mean? Is there one better than the other? I thought it's quite a good conversation because I get asked all the time, oh, well, if I can't see in hypnosis, does it actually work? And yeah, of course it does. But I thought it would be a cool, just a little snippet, little topic to talk about.
All right. So how many senses do we have?
Sixth sense. No. I'd say we've got our vision, the ability to see, to smell, to taste, to touch, which is sense, our hearing, and of course, I think we've got more, right? We've probably got our, if we've got the sense of sensation of feeling, maybe is the intuitive stuff counted there with our feeling, or is that even a different sense again? Don't know.
So let's say five to six senses.
Yeah.
And our brain uses the senses to process information, correct?
Yeah.
It's a system, but the system has also a sequence. If you, for example, if you think about something which generates a bad feeling, can you think about something, Justine?
Me right now. It's very hard. I'm talking to you, Christoph, but I'll try. Okay. A little bit, yeah.
All right. Now, you saw something because I saw your eyes, and for those who are watching the YouTube video, I saw your eyes moving, so you saw something.
Not sure if I saw something. I think I was trying to access a memory. I didn't see what I was accessing, but I had the idea of think of something bad. And then my brain was scanning, trying to think of a time in the past that I didn't like that would bring up a feeling. Yeah.
Okay. Now, think about something fun. All right.
There's so many things to think about, but we won't go into that. But yeah.
So in a few seconds, you managed to feel from the slightly bad feeling to a fun feeling, correct? And your senses needed to do something in order to allow that feeling to pop up.
Yeah, completely.
So it's just a step-by-step plan.
Yeah.
Now, so the topic of today is about the senses.
Yeah.
One big takeaway for our listeners is you have to do something in your brain to feel bad, and you have to do something different to feel more uplifting.
Yeah.
If
completely.
you want to shift a feeling, take a different approach and try to examine what is your step-by-step plan in order to feel better.
Yeah. So when we're talking doing meditation, doing hypnosis, using altered states, when we ask a client to visualize something or to feel something, it's very interesting because the way the person presents that with their senses is entirely unique to them. So for some people, when I tell them to imagine being in a room, they can see that room, like they can see it, like every little bit of it, they can walk around it. Whereas other people like me have a knowing that they're in the room and they can feel that they're in the room, the energy of the room, but there's no picture there. Whereas I know people hear things and smell things, and we all have, different unique abilities when it comes to our senses. And I think it's really important to note that all that is the way their imagination works. But, you know, the way their imagination works and fires off the senses, one way is not better than the other. Although I do tend to think that the ability to feel something creates change. Like you could take someone through a garden and look at the flowers and look at stuff, get that this is a positive garden, and they just walk through it. But if you say every time you look at the colors of those gardens, the most beautiful, loving feeling washes over you, the chances of the person feeling better after that imagination or that imaginative walk, because they felt like they were actually there, to me is quite powerful. But in saying that, you know, when people are so visual, who knows? So how do you experience, what do you experience when you're in trance? Do you see or do you feel or hear? What do you do, Christoph?
Well, we are all unique. Yeah? So some persons are more visual as others. Me personally, I'm quite visual.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
I guess most people are quite visual. Auditory a little bit, and feeling, yeah, absolutely. Smell and taste, and the olfactory, not that much. I know people who can smell really clear, like you have clairvoyance. You also have clear smelling and clear tasting, stuff like that. That's not for me. But sorry.
I was going to say, let's do a little test for the listeners, as long as they're not driving. If I was to say to them to close their eyes and just imagine that they're walking down a garden with pretty flowers, you know, can they see the flowers? And then maybe if I got them to, if you close your eyes and imagine you're standing by a fireplace and there's smoke, you know, the smoke from the fire, can you smell the fire? Can you smell the smoke? Maybe imagine tasting something incredibly yummy, or even easier, Christoph, what's something that you really hate to eat?
Liver.
Okay, close your eyes and imagine that you're biting liver. Can you taste it? Can you taste it?
Yeah.
What about smell? It'll be interesting, Christoph, if you think of your favorite song, can you hear it in your head?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know, but I was told maybe 10 years ago, I didn't know that people couldn't do that. I just assumed, being musical, that everybody could hear music in their head, but I found out later that it's just one of those senses, and some people have it. What else do we have? Feeling. Close your eyes and picture someone you love and see if you can feel that loving feeling in your body. I know you can, Christoph.
Of course I can.
Of course. So those are the some of the senses. I've noticed lately that for me, I don't have vision inside with my eyes closed, but I can quite clearly see with my eyes open different realities and things, just as it's like an imprint of what I'm looking at. So it's really interesting when we think about the way our mind takes the information that's coming in and presents it to us, and not to get too caught up in, you know, wanting to need to see things or feel things. Wait
a moment. Yeah. Wait a moment, because that's really interesting. So if you go in trance, do you see that actually in layers? Like you see a reality, and on top of that is another layer of
okay, so if I go into trance, I don't see anything in trance. So for me, it's the most I'd get is maybe a shadowing of color, usually reflecting from the light that's outside. But I see it with my eyes open.
But if you go in trance with your eyes open,
which is me most days,
yeah, then you can actually see in different layers, or
yeah.
What's
so
happening?
it's not so much seeing in different layers. I'll give you an example. There was a time when I was obviously not here. I was getting ready for a ceremony and making some plant medicine, right? And as I was making the medicine, it's a plant while I was making the medicine, the way I was doing it didn't feel right. So the way I was doing it wasn't right to me. And then I could see how that it was supposed to look. And so I could actually visually see while I was looking at it. And I had to cut it into little bits and do it in a different way myself in little pieces. And while I was doing that, I could see myself in a different place in a different time on top, imprinted on what I was doing with a different kind of plant, which I found out later exactly what it was. So when I say seeing, I mean, it's almost like having having a reality there and then another imprint put on top of it. And it's what I see. So if I'm working with people and someone, like, if it could be a spirit or my imagination, but if someone comes in and stands behind them, I'll see them, and then I'll see an imprint of something next to them, with the eyes open. So it's just a different way of sensing things, I think. But for everybody, I believe that our senses is something that we can develop. So like there's a little technique for developing your sense of sight, which I've been doing, and maybe it's been helping me with my eyes open. But, you know, when you get someone to imagine what their front door looks like, you know, if someone can't picture, it's a lot easier for them to start using and firing up their imagination to see their front door, because they see it all day, every day. And that's the same with the sense of smell and things. We can definitely work on them, make them stronger, right?
Practice.
Practice. Yeah. So it's
and I have a little, something special here. When the pelvic area is free and not so tight, because most of the girls, they can dance salsa and hula hoop, and most of the guys, they have more problems with the hips and the pelvic. But if your pelvic area is loosened up, free of emotions, then the energy which is produced in the pelvic area actually works as a battery, and the battery should go through the central channel, which is close to the spine, and goes to your brain. And there it provides energy to a number of glands, and inside your brain, those glands, they need to understand and interpret all the information which is outside. So your intuition takes information from the outside world. For example, if you think about someone, suddenly they call you. You managed to think about that person a minute before, so you picked the intention out of the ether, and your glands in your brain, they told you, oh, I'm thinking about that person. So there's no coincidence, it's just dealing with information. And if you train your pelvic area and the battery function is optimized, then you will notice that your clear, whatever sense it is you would like to develop, clairvoyance or clear hearing or feeling, excuse me, that those senses are being activated and more present.
So what do you do? Is it stretching? Like, what do you do to help that area?
Well, I teach my people in a training. I call it the flow of life. It's the second pillar of a 3-pillar system. And then we use altered states of consciousness in order to deal with it and to optimize it. And if you do physical exercises, I would strongly recommend hula hoop.
Yeah.
In order to loosen everything.
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. And of course, some stretching of your back, sitting up straight. If you pick something on the floor, make sure you don't block all your muscles. Make sure you loosen up your physical body, because most people have tension in their muscles, and then it stops the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's really,
interesting.
really interesting. And it's even interesting talking about that area because, you know, when our nervous system is wired, if our muscles in our back are tight, it can give our nervous system a message that we're in danger, ready to run. And the same way, if the nervous system is wired, it can make you get lower back pain because it's giving the message to get ready to run. So I can see how working that area and looking after that part of your body not only will help with your senses, but it will also help with staying good and relaxed and in a good space mentally, right?
Yeah, and everyone has a pelvic and has a spine. I mean, maybe you don't have legs or maybe you don't have arms, but you do have a pelvic and you do have a spine.
Yeah.
That's the reason why the chiropractists are so popular, and they help people with their spine. Craniosacral therapist, yoga. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There is a reason why people actually work on the spine, and even it's in our culture. Go find Santa Claus. Santa Claus goes. He brings presents through the chimney. What is the chimney? It's a representation of your spine.
Mm.
Yeah. So there you go.
It's a nice way to end our chat today.
Absolutely.
So once again, if you want to reach out, you know, send us some questions. If you want to know more about what Christoph was talking, you could even reach out and have a chat. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, love to hear from you. See you next time.
See you next time.